It says we're going live momentarily, and now it says we're alive. Hello, everyone. Bill Apter here at another section of Apter's Alley that you've probably never even seen before. And, of course, my masked friend is here. The book is here. Is Wrestling Fixed? Mac Davis?
Hello there.
Is Wrestling Fixed?
I didn't know it was working.
Thank you. First obnoxious plug of the evening here. Look what I find. Matt, I don't know if you're actually watching this while we're doing this.
I'm actually, there's a commercial on right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I found this in this other room of Apter's Alley. I found an original Pro Wrestling Illustrated button. We had it goes on.
I can see it now.
Yeah, look at that. So some of the memorabilia that I have down here, which eventually people will be able to see maybe in a traveling Apter's Alley show. I got a bunch of them booked for next year, and in the next few weeks I will be letting you know where you can all find my one-man show that you can all be involved with in your town, hopefully. And of course I will have copies of my book. And Insane Bill Mascolo is booked to open for me. He went back to Las Vegas. He was actually at Montgomery County Community College last week, and that will be on Josh Chernoff's So Says Chernoff this week on Fight TV. It debuts tomorrow. So on Fight TV, you're going to watch that, Mac? Mac Davis, are you there? Don't tell me we lost Mac Davis. He was there just a moment ago. Where did he go? And the phone is still ticking away here. Let's try and get him. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. All right. Let's see if we can get him again.
Hey, you sound good now.
No, you sound fine too. I don't know what happened.
It sounded like you just got disconnected all of a sudden. I lost all audio.
Well, you're in the boondocks there, aren't you?
I am. I'm out in the country life.
Yeah. So, all right, lots to talk about. Welcome everybody to another edition. I do want to mention that, as you know, next week is Thanksgiving, and I hope you're all going to have a happy time having fun or arguing with your family, which always happens at Thanksgiving time. Nobody ever leaves going, boy, that food was great, but I didn't want to talk to Uncle whoever it was or Aunt whoever it was. But we will not be live next Wednesday night. So we might possibly meet up some other time earlier next week. Mac and I will discuss that and see if we both have free time to do that. Okay, so I'm going to reduce my picture here where I can't see me. So the big story this week, before we talk about AEW and NXT, the big story this week comes out, of course, of NWA Power, 3 R's, and the controversy surrounding Jim Cornette. And he made a joke that a lot of people took offense at. And I totally get it. I totally understand that people took offense at it. A couple of things that stand in my way. Number one, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Matt, is that show was taped some time ago, correct?
It was pre-taped.
Okay, so it was pre-taped. So the editor of that show could have caught it.
I do want to say this, Bill, that I know Dave Lagano edits that show, and he wears many hats.
Yeah, Dave's great, by the way.
For
Dave,
him to miss something like that, very possible.
Yeah, it is possible. It's also a situation, and we haven't talked to Dave, that a lot of people did not take offense at this joke. See, back in the old days, in the days when Memphis TV was live and Jim Cornette was on there, Jerry Lawler was on there, etc. They might have pulled off a joke like that. And by the way, you fans chiming in here, we'll get to all your questions today. We're here for an hour. But back in the old days of pro wrestling, this situation probably might have just added to an angle. Correct, Mac? You agree with that?
Yes, it would have been, at that time, would have been an acceptable type of talk for an angle.
Yeah, but see, these days now, especially with the internet, you can't do that kind of stuff. It's a whole new world. And again, I'm not condoning what he did. He shouldn't have done it. In this day and age, you can't. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of jokes, a lot of TV shows like All in the Family, when they've redone it once or twice already. A lot of people take offense at that. So you have to really be careful with what you can do or what you can say now on anywhere. So I'm hoping somewhere in the next week or two to get Jim Cornette on the Apter chat here. And already I have seen on his Twitter feed, he wanted to know if anybody had any good jokes today. So what I'd like to do right now is the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, sent out an official press release. And I'm going to read it to you. And Mac, if you have any comments afterwards, please chime in here. Effective immediately, Jim Cornette has resigned from the National Wrestling Alliance as an announcer on the November 19th edition of NWA Power. Hang on here. My computer, everything is wide here today. Jim made remarks during a singles match between Nick Aldis, who's the NWA champion, and Trevor Murdoch that were both offensive and do not meet the standards of decency and good faith of the National Wrestling Alliance. To ensure such an error can never happen again, we've established new procedures of review for all NWA programming going forward. We sincerely regret our failure in this regard. Nick Aldis, prior to the NWA coming out and posting that, Nick Aldis said that this is in no way speaking on behalf of the NWA. I'm absolutely just speaking as myself, Nick Aldis. I thought the comment was in poor taste and unnecessary. I totally understand why it caused many to be upset. It was a lack of judgment or sensitivity. I have worked really hard, along with many others on this team, to make this brand mean something again. And this is not how I want the NWA to be trending. So very well said. Mac, you have any comments on that?
The whole thing is an unfortunate situation, and I'm not trying to support Jim and what he said by any means, but I do realize, just because I'm older and as you are as well, that we could see that kind
wait
of...
Wait a minute. Don't tell people. Wait a minute. Wait, don't tell people I'm older. Go ahead.
Okay. But I really do believe that Jim is just, unfortunately, he's still in the 70s and the 80s, and that type of thinking and those type of promos and cuts, you can't use anymore in today's environment.
No, you can't.
It's totally different.
You can't.
And, it's hard to ask somebody who's done that their entire life to suddenly change and conform to what the new way is. And so that could have been the issue. I'm sure that the NWA would have preferred that never aired, and Jim would have still been in the spot that he was in if that had not, if somebody had caught it in editing, as we always go back to, that may never have come up, and Jim may still be with the NWA.
Yeah, and it's a shame because he was really good at his job there. I really liked the whole flavor of having him there. We've got some comments.
Nostalgia that made the NWA as it came to TV for me.
All right, we've got some comments about this before we move on. Colonel Quayle, Cornette has not aged in the face as much, and he looks the same when he had to turn the tennis racket. Okay, that's hold on a minute, because I did see. Okay, Cigar Smoke 77. Your comment. I have to say I am black, and I was not offended by Corny's comment. I actually laughed out loud. Okay.
That's not the first person I've actually heard say that too, Bill.
Same with me here. Biggie 21 says the Freebirds with the Confederate flag either. Yeah, that was, a lot of people found that offensive back then. Keith Barbero, Cornette was making fun of Trevor's weight. The joke is that Trevor is so fat, not even a starving nation can come between him and a bucket of fried chicken. So Biggie 21 says Corny wanted to get fired, in his opinion. Keith says it has nothing to do with African American. Rick Gillespie, I wouldn't have found it acceptable in 1870, not let alone 1970. That's very profound, Rick. Let me just again scroll down here before we get to other things going on. Cigar Smoke 77, I love Corny. Gary McDivitt, NWA Power wasn't live. How did they not catch the joke Cornette made and just edit it out? Brian V, hey Brian, Jim seems to be getting fired from every company he's with very quickly for some reason. Well, again, I think as Mac just brought up, is that Jim Cornette you can't filter Jim Cornette, and sometimes these kind of jokes that went over or perceived as jokes that went over as jokes back in the older days of wrestling. I saw a lot of things when I was growing up in pro wrestling that I felt were offensive to minorities, but you can't do it these days. Correct?
No, it's not appropriate, Bill, and in this day and age, it really isn't. But again, I think it's just unfortunate that somebody didn't catch it at the time that it happened, and maybe somebody could have sat down and said, Jim, we can't say this because, and they probably would have realized he didn't see it that way when he said it, and even though when he said it, it just came out bad. There's no other way of saying it. It came out
too bad. Too bad.
World.
Going to miss him on those shows. All right, let's move on to another topic that I said, and again, we'll get to everybody's comments a bit later. I want to go down. There's a lot of news going on. FS1, WWE Backstage, 180,000 viewers, up 80,000 viewers because of CM Punk being in that segment with Renee Young. By the way, I saw Renee Young last week at SmackDown. And I looked at her and I said, it's amazing to me because they have finally found your genre. She is so good and so delightful on that Backstage show. And Punk said that, and he compliments her. But here's what's going on, in my opinion, here. All right. So it's been established now that Punk is working for Fox, not for WWE, right? Okay.
Correct.
So he can pretty much say whatever he wants, but I still think that deep down something's going to happen. He said he's not really interested in wrestling at this point, but again, it's the never say never. And when he was giving advice to some of the people like Seth Rollins on that show, he told Seth Rollins to stop the tweets. All right. So we're going to take this back to the media call with Triple H, which was earlier today, where he addressed wrestlers and tweeting, saying that he wishes they would come right to management instead of trying to get a buzz out there in Twitter land, so to say. So I'm going to tell you what I think is going on here. Because he directly picked on Seth Rollins, I think that Seth Rollins and he are kind of baiting each other, because I could see the main event at WrestleMania 2020 in this corner, Seth Rollins, and in this corner, CM Punk. What do you think?
I think it would be incredible if that happened. I still think that part of me believes that Punk's not interested in getting back in the ring.
Well, at this point, you know what? I usually agree with you, but I'm not sure I do in this point because once you're back around it, you want to be in it. Look at you. What did you do this weekend? Earlier this week?
Well, I was wrestling as well.
Yeah, right. Now, you haven't been in the ring in how long?
It's been since January of this year since I was in the ring.
Okay, so January, that's 11 months. So you've been away from the ring. And now that you're around it, you got the itch to do it again. And I saw your video where you were all the way up in the top of the stands, Laredo Pro Wrestling, correct?
Yes, Laredo Pro Wrestling Guild. We were having a match. Actually, it came up out of nowhere, and the match ended up being a street fight that had me go to the top of a high school bleachers.
No, wait. How many rows up was that?
Say that again?
How many rows up was that?
Oh, I'd have to go back and watch. There's actually a video on my Facebook page. You can go and watch this.
Looked to me like
the scene you're talking about.
It looked about 35 rows to me.
Yeah, it's way up there, and there's not a whole lot of room to work with.
And you speared your opponent on the top row there. You could have killed yourself.
Yeah, but, what you're saying with CM Punk, to be honest, Bill, is once you get it in your blood, you're around it, it's hard not to become what you want to be while you're near it. You don't want to be the announcer. You don't want to be the timekeeper or anything else. You want to be what you always have been, a wrestler. You want to perform.
Yeah, so
and that goes back to Punk. I believe Punk is probably in that type of situation, but money really talks. And the question is, have they made him a big enough offer to come back to that ring yet? Or does he wait and get the value even higher?
Well, my prediction is if not WrestleMania, maybe by Royal Rumble time, we will see Seth frickin' Rollins against CM wannabe frickin' Punk.
I'd love to see it. I think it'd be a great match.
Oh, so talking about great matches, this Monday night, you and I were comparing notes. Before we talk about the matches, I want to talk about the art of getting over in an interview. Did you see Rey Mysterio's interview about what he's going to do to Brock Lesnar?
I did. You actually brought that up, and I had to go back and rewatch it. I watched it this afternoon, and really a great promo by Rey. He
went right up to the camera, and he talked about what he was going to do to Brock Lesnar. And he had that stick or that light thing in his hand or whatever. And I have to tell you, it took me back to when I was growing up as a kid, watching wrestlers go on, and we didn't call it a promo, it was an interview. And I texted him afterwards, and I told him, I said, it was totally amazing. He said, he thanked me, of course, but it resonated so much. It took you out of that, sports entertainment feeling, and it brought you to, this is wrestling. He's going to kill that guy.
That is what the key to wrestling is, Bill, is the passion. If there's a legitimate reason where one guy dislikes another guy and people can understand that reason, it's a very simple mix. You bring the good guy in the white hat, you bring the guy with the black hat on, good guy, bad guy, let him go. Give them a story that's simple, but give them a story that means something.
Absolutely. And Rey Mysterio, I mean, he was just absolutely, he was awesome. And I think down the road, of course, with his size being twice the size of his father, I think I saw Dominic training about 1.5 years ago, and I think this guy is going to be a celebrity, a star, not a celebrity, a star in WWE. So let's talk about two of the matches that were on Monday Night Raw this week, which were, and I know the finishes were kind of messed up and all this because they're preparing for the Survivor Series, but I tweeted out two matches that were wrestling matches. It wasn't like sports entertainment matches. It was good, classy wrestling matches. The first one was Seth Rollins, again, against Andrade. I always say his name wrong. Andrade. Two guys. Andrade, thank you. So I can never pronounce it. Andrade. I got it for next week now. But two guys who were just excellent wrestlers back and forth. And then Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre, too. What an exciting match.
I had a problem with that second match.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
I got confused. Now, I'm going to just say this as a fan watching TV. And I have not watched Raw in a while. This is my first time watching Raw. So I'm watching, during that match, a fantastic match.
Yeah.
And Triple H comes out. They go to commercial, come back. Drew McIntyre's gone. I guess the match is over, and Kevin Owens has won, or so. No, I can't remember exactly. I just know I never could understand what happened. It was a very disjointed part of the show for me, and it actually bugged me quite a bit.
I think it was a TV issue because at one point Charlotte Flair was in the ring, and all of a sudden the music for Samoa Joe comes on, and he started coming down the ramp there, and then it went to a commercial. You didn't know what happened. It came back. He was sitting at the broadcaster's table. So how did you like him as a broadcaster? Yeah.
I was going to say, Samoa Joe does a great job on the announcer's desk.
Okay. All right. By the way, AEW tonight, I was IMing you. I had trouble hearing the announcers from the beginning all the way through the end. Even the ring announcer, I had trouble hearing at the beginning, Justin Roberts.
Yeah, I think when we had talked earlier, one of the things I noticed, they had the ring mics really loud. You could hear the ring, the boards even, popping every time they walked or moved in that ring. And I think it was drowning out, actually, a lot of the other audio that you're used to hearing. The blend just wasn't there. Somebody who was mixing sound needed to fix something, whether it was Well,
they might have been mixing something else.
Or what.
They might have been mixing something else, and they never got back to the. No, but little levity there. No, they have an excellent production. That whole show tonight seemed like a pay-per-view, didn't it?
It did, and they started the show off, Bill, the way I like it. If you notice, they have a variety of openings they use. They never settle on one, exact opening. Like Raw always used to be promo, all the hits would come out and tell you what the matches would be, and you always knew how Raw would lay out. AEW, if you watch them week to week, they change each week how they start the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the part where they bring in a very strong, high-octane match like they had tonight.
Oh, yeah, with Nick Jackson against Ray Phoenix. That was amazing action. Very, very Japanese wrestling style.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so I'm going to give you what my highlights were of the night. Okay, that of course was being one of them, and then I want to hit you up with what your AEW highlights were. One of my highlights was during that battle royal, the Dirty Dozen thing there. Billy Gunn looked great, didn't he?
He worked fantastic, and I'm not sure how old he is at this point, but he's like me. We're not that young anymore.
Well, he looked bodily. He looked terrific, like that badass that he always was. His attitude just totally took over. And that spot with Orange Cassidy there and MJF, absolutely priceless. And then the other part that I thought was a highlight. And again, fans, we're gonna get to all your questions here. No, just Mac and I. No other guests tonight. You're all the guests tonight. We're going to get to all your questions. But that face-to-face with Scorpio Sky and Chris Jericho was absolutely incredible. I wish they would have ended it there without the attack, but I do have to tell you that the way they fooled Chris Jericho into getting a title match, that was brilliant. I've never seen that done. In all the years I've been watching wrestling, I've never seen that particular way of setting something up done. Have you?
I haven't, although it seemed like there was a lot of Chris Jericho in that promo because
Oh yeah.
the lead up and how the kind of comedy portion of it felt like Jericho to me. And it made really for another memorable promo that he's nailed every time that he's been on TV so far.
It's amazing.
He hasn't missed a promo yet.
But you know what? He also brings out the best in the opponents because I've seen Scorpio Sky on promos before, but when you're looking Chris Jericho in the eye and he's looking at you in the eye, it's boom, boom, boom. But again, when they got so close to each other, and Scorpio Sky was, I didn't like when they all came in and trying to think of the name of that the whole elite
but now you got me lost.
Yeah, but when they all came in,
the inner circle.
The inner circle, yes, that's Andrade. Okay, the inner circle came in. Had a brain fart. Can I say fart? I won't get thrown off. Okay, it's not offensive. But when they came in and they did the attack, and Scorpio Sky just kind of got killed in there, I thought it took a little bit away. But and MJF, his facial expressions are absolutely amazing.
They have an incredible roster, and tonight they kind of let you see a lot of their roster that we haven't seen lately. And that was excluding Cody, who was not on the show tonight.
Well,
let me ask you: did you feel like you got cheated at any point, Bill, by not seeing Cody tonight?
No. I thought the whole show was great. They announced another shock: Dustin Rhodes came back tonight. That was so great to see. It was fabulous.
And still in incredible shape himself.
Yeah. By the way, did you notice I'm going to go back to Chris Jericho for a minute, is that the reaction to Chris Jericho is bigger than any reaction he has ever gotten in his career, in my opinion.
He is loved by the fans, you can tell. But one thing I do like about the AEW fans, they allow the performers to kind of go back and forth a little bit, with personality and character. And because they allow that, it makes for a better show. The fans, because they know they can kind of control the flavor and tone of the show, have become a major part of the show.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the fan when Billy Gunn got in the ring? Like, you knew Billy Gunn was going to be there. Did you see the fan that held up the sign, "Suck it, Vince"?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But NXT, of course, had unfortunately, I had seen some spoilers, so I kind of knew some of the people that were going to. Fans, if you're watching this, don't, in my opinion, and Mac and I have talked about this, I like watching wrestling, and I'd like to know what's not going to happen. I don't want to know what's going to happen. So if you're going to just clink and click out spoilers, don't do it on where you're tagging me. I would appreciate that. But tonight, of course, NXT had a lot of run-ins from SmackDown, from Raw. Ricochet took on Matt Tavern. I mean, they had a lot of exciting matches, but in the very end, the last guy to do a run-in was Seth Rollins. And he and Adam Cole were like face-to-face. And that is another match worthy of, as they say, a main event in any building, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. I think Adam Cole now has reached a level where he is on that. He's just reached that level of that main roster guy. He belongs there. Period. The end.
I still fear for NXT by being partially on to the big shows and the big networks, because I'm afraid it's going to kill some of that creativity and freedom that they once had.
Well, we need to see what's going to happen at the Survivor Series. And I'm going to give my predictions later on in the show about the Survivor Series. But hopefully NXT will be just as strong and maybe stronger after the Survivor Series. So in another piece of news that got a press release today from the WWE, the New Day, Feel the Power, a new weekly podcast series launching Monday, December 2nd. Hold on, I just have to get to my news here. Hosted by New Day's Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E. See, I can pronounce all of those. I can't pronounce Andrade. The podcast offers fans an unprecedented connection to the 7-time WWE Tag Team Champions as they riff on their experiences from inside and outside the ring. So I think they're going to cover their favorite subjects, including sports, video games, music, and much, much more. So the WWE started their podcast network with the Corey Graves podcast, and now they are expanding into the New Day. So little by little, their podcasting network is growing.
And of course, don't forget, there's also the announcement of Steve Austin's show.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Which, of course, that's going to be on the WWE network.
That's correct. And his first show, I believe, is this coming Sunday after the pay-per-view, and the first guest is The Undertaker.
Yes, that's going to be a hell of an undertaking, so to say.
Yes.
When you mentioned Stone Cold Steve Austin, I want to bring something up. Tonight on AEW, when Jon Moxley made his unusual, crazy entrance, I said this now is Stone Cold Moxley. He's the Stone Cold Steve Austin of AEW. Agree?
I agree. I think that's pretty much what he's going for.
I just came up with that. That's what I think.
But you know what's funny is that this character, Bill, of Moxley is what he wanted to do in WWE in the first place.
Yeah, it's who he really is. It's who he really is.
And I don't know why they never allowed him to be himself.
Well, I think that, you have and I hate to use this term, you have a pecking order of who you're going to get over when, and it just never hit. But he could have I would have loved Stone Cold to have come in and had some beers with him back in WWE and put him over as like a predecessor of Stone Cold Steve Austin. They're a lot alike, the same guy. Keep your questions coming in because going to get to them in a minute. And Matt, can you still see our screen here?
I sure can.
So people have asked me to unmask this. My old late great friend, Bill Schuyler, who Big Ray Hernandez from the Hameen Network introduced me to many years ago, and he's no longer with us, made this shirt for me one time, One Wrestling Old School. So I put it on this cardboard character, and I put Mr. Wrestling #2's mask on the cardboard character. And I don't know if any of you can see and guess who it is, but next week there might be another mask on this. All right, so Mac, let me look at my news here before we take the fans' questions and see if there's anything else that screamed out at you tonight.
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. I really didn't see any major flaws in AEW at all tonight. I thought it was a really good, solid show.
Okay, so I'm going to go over my. Now I know you don't. I know you're not a big WWE fan, but I'm going to go over my Survivor Series picks, and then we go right to the fan questions. And all right, so Survivor Series. Brock Lesnar, the champion, will take on Rey Mysterio. No holds barred match for Lesnar's WWE Championship. I was convinced that Brock Lesnar was going to destroy Rey Mysterio in 2 or 3 minutes, but I think there might be something, because it's no holds barred, something's going to happen with either Dominic or someone else coming in, Cain Velasquez possibly, And I think Rey Mysterio is going to beat Brock Lesnar. I do. You heard it right here. All right, Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion, versus Bayley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, versus Shayna Baszler, the NXT Champion. Brand Supremacy triple threat match. I cannot see Becky Lynch losing that. I say that Becky Lynch is going to win. We're going to have the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar. By the way, that Ivar is just absolutely incredible. Versus the Raw Tag Team Champions they are the Raw Tag Team Champions versus the New Day versus the Undisputed Era, who are the NXT Champions. And you know what? I think there's going to be a major upset here. I think the NXT Champions are going to win that one. It's going to be Team Raw, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Asuka. It's spelled Azuka, but I always call her. Well, it's Asuka, but I always call her Asuka. Kairi Sane and Sarah Logan versus Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross versus Team NXT to be announced. 5-on-5 Women's Supremacy, Women's Survivor Series triple threat elimination match. That's going to be, who am I going to pick on that one? Actually, I'm going to pick Team SmackDown. Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooks, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross. Now we have Team Raw, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet versus Team SmackDown, Roman Reigns. So Reigns is going to probably get in against his former partner there, Seth Rollins, Mustafa Ali, who's amazing, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and Shorty G. Congratulations, by the way, Shorty G. You and your wife just had another baby. Well, your wife did. Versus Team NXT to be announced. That'll be a 5-on-5 Survivor Series triple threat match. I am going to pick Team Raw on that one. AJ Styles, U.S. champion, against Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental champion, versus Roderick Strong, the North American champion. I'm going to pick Shinsuke Nakamura in that one. Then we have the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Everybody loves the Fiend. Do you like Fiends, Mac?
That's one character I actually keep up with. I'll watch YouTube videos. I love that character.
Wow. All right. Well, Bray Wyatt will take on the new loved Daniel Bryan, single match for the WWE Universal Championship. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, retains. And then Adam Cole, NXT champion versus NXT TakeOver War Games triple threat winner. I'm not sure who's going to win that one at this point. We'll know on Saturday night after NXT TakeOver. That will be Saturday night. Okay, so let's go to the fan questions now.
Let me bring up one thing real quick, Bill.
Please do.
The Rey Mysterio match with Brock Lesnar. I'm just thinking back to a lot of the history and things that the WWE has done with Rey. What are the chances that Dominic causes Rey the match?
Yeah, I never thought of that. Causes his father the match?
There's a lot of history he'd go back to and play with his dad and the whole Eddie angle.
Yeah, well,
just a thought.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting thought with the son turning on the father. Huh. Okay. I don't think that's what's going to happen, though. I think there's just going to be a lot of distraction. I think Paul Heyman's going to get all flustered, and I think somehow Brock Lesnar is going to lose the title because of some sort of funny business. And I don't know what that funny business will be. Just my opinion. All right. Let's go here to some of your questions. Still a lot of people chiming in about Jim Cornette. Brian saying AEW is awesome tonight. I think Priscilla Kelly will sign with AEW. Okay, hold on. We just got some jumping here going in the. Sometimes computers do these things. Andrew Rojas, it's a double standard because there's a lack of outrage when the LGBTQ community or blacks make jokes about other races and cultures, but as soon as somebody rips them, all hell breaks loose. Okay, well, we're off that topic right now, but thank you for saying that. Corny was one of the guys. Okay, hey, this is interesting. Cigar Smoke 77. Jim Cornette was one of the guys who was so happy when Ron Simmons won the WCW title. He is not a racist. Interesting comment, right?
He's also, if I'm not mistaken, I think he and Mark Henry are actually pretty close as well.
They are. They are. They are. By the way, Ron Simmons and I did an Apter chat this past week at Bud Carson's convention in Allentown. That'll be running in a few days. By the way, I have a gripe against the fans who for years, months and years, were sticking it to me that my old microphone, the sound was terrible. They could only hear through one ear. So finally, I got a better microphone. The sound is terrific. If you saw my interview with Roddy Piper's daughter on OneWrestlingVideo.com and my video with the lovely Casey Lennox, right, Mac? And Mac, you're a sound guy.
I'm a sound guy, and you can't tell by my phone sometimes, but the audio with your microphone sounds so much better.
Yeah, but nobody who was complaining about my old microphone is now saying, boy, it sounds good. They did compliment the opening that you made for my show, by the way, with all those TV sets and everything. That looks great.
Oh, cool.
That looks great. All right, Bill, who do you think will win, Shayna Baszler or Bayley or Becky Lynch? Becky Lynch. I just don't think anybody's going to beat Becky. Solomon, by the way, if you see me looking over here, that's where my chat box is here. Solomon Sultan looks like me, Seth Rollins is trying to get CM Punk back into wrestling. Yes, I think he is baiting him. Dre Day say, what happens if Punk brings up AEW? I guess you mean on the Fox show? Well, I don't think WWE would like it, but he works for Fox. So if Fox says you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, he'll talk about it.
And that's why he took the job.
Yeah, yeah. Joker Jack says Jim Cornette Corny doesn't care if he's gone or not. He has so much going on with personal ventures. I'm sure he just sees it as more time for those. That's possible. Brian wants to know, what if Punk cuts down Vince Russo? Oh, McMahon. Okay. I guess it's okay. If the ratings are good, I don't think Vince would care. Do you, Mac?
I don't think if it's making sense and it's making money,
Right.
there's no problem.
Right. The second part being, wow, this is great. Solomon Sultan says, I would totally mark out if CM Punk came back and won the Royal Rumble. Oh, wow, what an idea. He could be the last guy unannounced. Oh, that would be great.
Now think about this too, Bill.
Woo!
The location of this pay-per-view.
This particular one's going to be Chicago, right? Right, but it's not the Royal Rumble. We're talking about the Royal Rumble in January.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but still, Royal Rumble with, doesn't matter where it is, CM Punk being entered as, yeah, you should be booking Solomon Sultan. Colonel Quayle, what about Fritz von Erich and his Nazi gimmick so many moons ago? Right. That was very offensive. It made $1 zillion. Fritz von Erich and Karl von Hess and Waldo von Erich and the von Stromans and all that Nazi gimmick was used forever. But remember, there were magazines back in those days. I know that better than anyone. But there was no internet that way. So a lot of fans who were not wrestling fans didn't hear that. Now, I shouldn't say that because the people that watch NWA Power are diehard wrestling fans, but I don't think the sensitivity level was as high with the wrestling fan back then. It was accepted that, there were Japanese wrestlers that, allegedly were at Pearl Harbor and stuff, and these alleged Nazi wrestlers who were not really Nazis. It was put up with as part of what pro wrestling was back then. But you can't do that today. You can't do that today. Baron von Raschke used a Nazi gimmick too. He did. So, yeah, I was there. I know at Rick Gillespie, I realized this will not be a popular viewpoint. Yes, viewpoint. But I never understood the appeal of CM Punk. I don't hate the guy. I just don't understand why he's so buzzworthy. Okay, so let's discuss that. There are.
I can actually, I was just going to say, Bill, I think I may have mentioned this to you earlier this week. When I was at StarCast and he was the guest, and everybody was waiting to hear what CM Punk had to say.
Yeah.
When he did that, everybody was talking. The second he came off that stage, there was no more talk of CM Punk. He got very quiet. It was like nobody cared to hear about him anymore. So I wonder if that type of mentality may still be attached to him, or maybe there's still that amount of people out there who just want to love CM Punk.
Yeah, they are out there.
CM Punk. I love his promos, and I want to see him back, but I'm not sure that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, no, but he is still, you'll still hear fans at every arena, both in WWE and AEW and in Impact and Ring of Honor. When they don't like something, they start calling for CM Punk to show up. Royal Rumble, I love that idea. Brian Laredo, what in the world is that? It's an independent company in Georgia, correct?
Yeah, that's actually the group that I was working for this past weekend.
Yeah. And where can people find them online?
Go to Lariato Pro Wrestling Guild on Facebook, and I believe they even have a webpage as well.
Okay. Gary McDivitt. CM Punk's never won a Royal Rumble or been the main event of WrestleMania. Perhaps / hopefully he'll tick those two off his list in 2020. I think we're all looking in that direction since he came back to WWE via Fox. Big E 21 CM Punk was the Michael Jordan of indie wrestling. You used to run his on shows back in the day. So I had seen what a great ring technician CM Punk was when I went to do a set of pictures of him when he was the main guy at the Ring of Honor training school in Philadelphia. He's quite a wrestler, and there's an underlying attitude, and I'm not using that as a negative whatsoever. There's an underlying attitude there that just seems to attract people. Yeah, he's got whatever that it is. There's something underlying. I don't know what it is, but that's what it is with him. Colonel Quayle, where's the real heels today? Heels is Heels. I'm an editor. With wrestling, anything goes. Sounds lame. Lesnar versus Mysterio. Boo. Well, I thought that same thing with Lesnar versus Mysterio. Boo as well until I saw Rey Mysterio's promo the other day. Not fully boo.
Well, let's talk about the heels, though. Bad guys. I agree with that part of the question or the statement. We need a better definition of the good guys and the bad guys. I think we got so far away from that everybody was kind of in that gray area, and we didn't. It's really hard to know who to cheer for. Even if you watch AEW tonight, how many times did you hear the audience split 50-50, cheering one guy and cheering the other?
Yeah, that's true.
In the old days, if the heel was getting cheered, he was probably about to get fired.
No, the bad guys were clearly I still call them rule breakers and fan favorites. But the rule breakers were clearly defined. I did an interview this past Sunday, which will be on later this week or next week with Road Warrior Animal. And we were talking about how the Road Warriors actually changed the entire face of what the bad guys were. Because if you remember when they came in and they started killing guys, the fans loved them, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Biggie 21 Punk versus Undertaker is the best match since Hulk versus Warrior. I don't know if Punk versus Undertaker at this point in Undertaker's career, I'd want to see that. I'd rather see Punk wrestle with someone like a Seth Rollins that we can get a real good match that would show the best out of Punk and the best out of Seth Rollins. Andre Corbeil, hey Andre, I don't think Dominic is going to turn on his father. Let me explain that. I always say turn against his father. Because if you want to talk about something being misconstrued, you could misconstrue what my friend Andre just said. He doesn't think that Dominic's going to turn on his father. So let turn against his father. Yes. But I don't think he will either. Joker Jack, welcome back. I don't know about Punk Rollins for WrestleMania, but maybe Punk beats Rollins in a match at the Royal Rumble, then wins the Rumble, and Punk versus The Fiend for WrestleMania. Interesting. All right. Junito 21, New Jersey in the house. Hey, Jersey. All right. One of my favorite Broadway shows, of course, of all time is Jersey Boys, the story of the Four Seasons. I karaoke every one of those. I can almost hit the Sherry, baby. What do you think? Not too bad? Not too bad? All right.
Just do it solo.
I did.
We can't hear you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Joker Jack, everything Mac is saying is right. Is exactly what Cornette preaches every week. All right. Brian, the Great Muta versus John Moxley would be cool. I think it would have been cool ages ago when Muta was a little bit younger. Not that he's old, but I think I would have liked to have seen that match with the two of them, with Muta in his prime. Sultan, Christopher Daniels needs to become champion before he retires. Amen. I agree. My guess, Chris Jericho keeps getting better, extremely intense, and creative. Oh, yeah. Just let him go. Put him out there, give him the idea of what you want. We'll let him come up with it. He's Jim Ross tonight mentioned in a little bit of time that I could hear Jim Ross mention that he's the most, he's evolved so many times and he's still great. Isn't Bruce Pritchard in the podcasting thing also? Yes, he still has his show with Conrad. When I saw Bruce last week, he said it's his show with Conrad, not Conrad's show with him. Who's next? I can't pronounce your whole name. Not that I don't know how, but it's the F-bomb. I see the Grappler's mask behind my man Bill. No, that is not the Grappler. This is Mr. Wrestling number 2's mask. However, there was a time when Mr. Wrestling number 2 was the Grappler down in Florida, but he wore a different mask. He didn't wear this mask. No, this is the mask of Mr. Wrestling number 2. So somebody out there tell me who's under the mask. We'll have an unmasking if you can tell me. NAC says old school for life. I hope you live very long. Let me see here. Those eyes and those hips, that's got to be Rhonda under all of that. The hips, the eyes.
I didn't see that. Show me more of those hips there.
A little bit more of the hips. The hips there. You know what? Next week, we will announce this to all your friends. We will have the unmasking here on the live after chat. Actually, not next week. We'll be off next week. The week after
If
Thanksgiving.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to take a guess. I'm not going to say the name, but I'm going to say the person I'm thinking it might be likes goats pooping on her foot.
I don't know who that is, so you can say it. Who is it?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to tell us who it is.
Oh, I I believe that's Ronda Rousey.
You're the second person. Well, the unmasking will be in 2 weeks when we come back. Again, we might have a show out of nowhere unannounced next week before Thanksgiving. And this RKO thing, I want to thank the merchandise people at WWE. I left my jacket in my car when I went to SmackDown, and it was freezing out in Philadelphia. And one of the merchandise guys who I always hit up said, "Why don't you wear this to your car and keep it?" And it's an RKO modeling it for you right here. Yeah, it's a Randy Orton.
That's good looking hoodie.
Oh, thank you very much. $5, I'll give it to you. No, all right. So let's keep going here. NAC, I'll be like Goldie running for Eddie to defend Brock. Oh, 15 years ago. Okay, got that. Let's see some people who Dre Day. No, her name is Toby. Back there? I don't know who Toby is, but it's Mr. Wrestling #2. Well, that's the mask. That's correct. That's correct. I like doing this with so many people. Dennis Bridgewater, I miss WWE Big Boss Man. Yeah, he was really, that whole character was so over. But these days now, you probably couldn't do that gimmick because people would say, that's police brutality.
That's true.
Unbelievable. Rest in peace, Ray Traylor. He was a great guy. Gary McDivitt, it's probably not a match WWE would make, but Goldberg recently said he's got unfinished business. Goldberg versus The Fiend. Wait a minute. I was looking through, I have a drawer in this part of Apter's Alley that has some loose photos, and this just happened to be, give me some Fiend. You're next. You like this?
You know how many times
I took that photo.
If the folks, if you go to my Facebook page to see the video that happened this last weekend, you'll understand what I'm talking about if you've never seen me.
Oh, your spear.
You and I have, I think we kind of look similar.
Well, the hairline.
You're a lot bigger than I am.
The hairline. Wait a minute. Let me put this on here. How do you like this? This be a great Halloween mask? Yeah, all right. But more, since we're in a different area of Apter's Alley, I do have access to a lot of pictures that I shot many years ago for Total Wrestling magazine. Look at this young guy.
Wow, yeah.
Rey Mysterio. I'm going to get you. All right. Yeah, that was Barack. Actually, since I'm going to be doing Apter's Alley from this location of the Apter's Alley room because it's warmer here, we get a better phone signal too. I'll show some new pictures, some new old pictures. All right, let's get some more questions here because we've only got a few more minutes. In 1996, WWE Mr. Perfect interviewed Steve Austin, and they most got at it. I don't know what that means. Joker Jack, MJF, best heel in the business. He's still growing as a bad guy. He really is. He really is. Rick Gillespie, Melina is back. She's still in the Indies, from what I understand. So we've got about 2 minutes. So if you got any more questions, send them in right now. Mac, I want to thank you for spending the entire hour. And again, next week we might come on unannounced at a certain time. I want to wish all you people in the United States a happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you have lots to eat. Make sure you hug your family, and make sure you don't drink and drive. Right, Mac?
Absolutely. Everybody, I hope, has a fantastic Thanksgiving, and please be careful on the road.
Well, thank you. Don't drink and drive. Pull over, have the drink, and then that's an old joke. Somebody told me it's terrible. Brian says the masked man is the late Randy Savage. Oh no, I know that's not for sure. Well, keep guessing. I think the hips. How did these hips, Randy Savage? Come on, Brian. Anyway, have a happy Thanksgiving, and Mac, I want to thank you once again for all your insights. Greg Oliver, who's written so many wrestling and hockey books. and it was just announced that he will be getting the Jim Melby Award, Great Honor at the Cauliflower Alley Club this year. So congratulations. Yeah, we're going to have him on the next time, December 4th. He will be a special guest on our show. Thank you for the interaction, Mr. Apter. You are welcome. Bless you and your family, Bill Apter and Mac Davis, too. And you think it's Eric Bischoff under there? You figured it out? No, can't tell you for 2 weeks. It's Bill Apter and Mac Davis. Mac, you can end this. I'll see you
at the matches.
That's a wrap. Yo, yo, yo.